More and more companies are investing in building and growing their in-house design teams. And they do so in order to stimulate their innovativeness and to improve upon the user experience that they deliver. Those in-house design teams, to be effective, need to be managed well. There needs to be effective design leadership in place. However, what effective design leadership is, particularly in large, complex organizations, is relatively unknown. So we undertook some research to find that out. And we had in-depth interviews with 59 design leaders, executive design leaders operating in large, complex organizations that have more than 1,000 employees, and with headquarters either in the US, in Europe, or the Asia Pacific. What did we find? Well, first of all, we found that there are specific types of tensions that need to be managed by these design leaders. And those design tensions can be clustered into three distinct categories. First of all, there are differences in priorities. The priorities as embraced by the designers in the design team tend to be different than the priorities from, for example, marketing or engineering. Then there are differences in workflow and timing, and there are differences in terms of making decisions, the decision-making styles. For example, designers being more at ease with making decisions based on intuition, while other functions and departments tend to prefer to make decisions also based on facts and figures. So looking at those tensions from a more broader perspective, what we could identify is one overarching paradox that design leaders had to manage. That paradox is that on the one hand, design leaders need to integrate their design teams in the organization, into the fabric of the organization, to make sure that designers work well with all those other functions and departments, because if you don't work well, not much can be actually realized, right? But on the other hand, design leaders also needed to take care of the fact that their design team needed some protection, and some had to be able to work in their own way, and kind of had to express their own uniqueness, because that uniqueness, that differentness, is what actually brings value for the company. So you invest in design because it's different, because it does something else than the other functions and departments do. So you also should be allowed to let design bloom within your organization by being different. So that design leaders needed to balance integration versus differentiation. How do design leaders do that? We have identified 5 opposing sets of behaviors that helped design leaders to cope with that paradox. Those 5 sets of opposing behaviors are being transformative, yet being affirmative. So being focused on change, yet also realize that there might already be things in place that actually need to be embraced and need to be further improved upon. Another one is being proactive, yet also being responsive to what happens. So proactive, being entrepreneurial, yet also being responsive to what happens around you and what is happening within the other departments and functions, for example. Then there is attitude of being directive. So set boundaries, set your vision, yet also be accommodating to the input of others, right? And listening to what others are saying. Then there is behavior in terms of being intuitive, listening to your gut feelings, versus being also very systematic and try to find as much data and to sustain your decisions. Then the final one was being holistic, yet also be specific. Being holistic, taking in the big picture, yet also being able to really focus on the specifics of what's happening around you. So ultimately what we say is that design leadership is not a fixed type of behavior or a fixed type of style. Actually, design leadership is all about being able to be fluid and meander according to the context.